G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. Today we're going to continue building our 8k bankroll. Now we did have a setback, we've recovered mostly to our $1,500 bankroll, just slightly short. So first, before we start, I do have to fix up a couple of dealing mistakes that I've had in the last one or two videos, which very grateful for those who have watched my videos and commented and noticed a couple of dealing mistakes. So the net position is I owe the house $4, but there was one case where I had a place bet up and that was actually off on a come out, and I just explained I had two don'ts. So I went onto a pass line. I ended up rolling a come out 7, which is exactly what we were hoping to get, but I still took my place bet even though it was off. So that particular bet is owed by the house to me, and it was Victor that pointed that out. And then another couple of dealing mistakes was Mike noticed I hadn't put some caps on, so there was $2 there and $2 there, so there was I think $4 total there. And there was another case where I'd paid from the dealer rather than my rack into the come. So the net position of $30 that's a wash. The house owes me $30, I owe the house $30. So what we're left with is I owe the house $4. So I'm going to take $4 out. That's a long-winded explanation, and I will get back $1 there. So now we're even with the house. We can get started. So our total bankroll that we have here, now what was it? It was 1460.64. So 1464 is what we've got. So I'm going to basically treat it as if it's a $1,500 bankroll and set our profit target of that 300 to 450. So anywhere in there is about right for our profit. So let's get started. This has been working for us, going in the don't pass and the don't come. I'm going to use this until the dice show me that maybe I should be playing the 5, 6, 8, and then I'll transition to that. So we'll see how we go. But my last recovery session, we did fantastic playing this. Of course, if the shooter starts hitting points, then we will suffer a few losses, but that's not the end of the world even if they do. It's just if they start hitting points and our DCs that it can kind of be painful. But anyway, let's get started. So we've got an 8. So that sort of potentially means we should have been playing the 5, 6, 8 because it's come straight out and hit it inside. So we'll just keep an eye on it. So at least on the, while it's not the best number to be on, it does make laying our odds cheaper. So if we were to get knocked off, it's not so bad. All right, coming out. Oh, sorry, we have set the point and we've got a 7 straight away. So that's the reason why we lay these guys here, because that loses, it's paid there, but we still end up getting our odds paid $30. So very short hand, but we made a profit with relatively small amount of risk. Put that back in. All right, so that goes off, get some new dice. Here we go, coming out. Got an 8 again. All right, 36 in odds, 30 in the DC. And we've got a 9. So I'm not sure if you can see that one there. The dice seem to have a habit of going right into the corner, just off the frame, but I can't get that in the frame, unfortunately. 9, so our DC travels to the 9. So now that we've got all of our bets up, we can take down our odds. Now we could put our odds on the 9. That was a factor, I think, in the session where I lost about $460 or whatever it was. That was actually a factor, I believe, in the overall variance. We actually did pretty well out of this play. But when we did start hitting a couple of our don'ts, whether I don't pass or the DC, having the odds on there, it just added to the variance and increased the amount of losses we were getting. So I'm going to probably try and only avoid the laying the odds only for that roll. And if we get knocked off one, then I will probably have one with some odds on. But I probably won't run the odds. Even if they go to the 4 or the 10 on the outside, it can seem like a great idea, but they still hit reasonably often, that when it does hit, it does hurt. So so we've got our 2 don't bets up, which is perfect. And all we're hoping now is if we get a 7 here, that's exactly what we want to see. 6, so that travels to the 6. All right. And we got a 7. So unfortunately, one of ours is a wash, so that one pays there. But we still pick up a unit there and a unit there. So happy days. Kind of works well on these short rolls. It just seems to work really, really well. And even when we do get long rolls, it's not the end of the world either. It can do reasonably well on the longer rolls. Our main nemesis is obviously hitting our don't bets and obviously come out 7s and yos. They'll always be painful. And 4, we're on the 4. All right, so that's a little bit more expensive to put our odds on this one. Now you don't have to put that much on there. You could say, oh look, I don't feel like risking that much. Okay, we'll just put 30. You'll only win 15, but 15 is still better than nothing, and you don't have to risk as much. So why don't we just try that? Let's just put the 30 there. Put 30 here, so we'll only make 15 on a 7, but a win's a win, right? And maybe winning 15 is better than, only losing 30 is better than losing 60. So, it's not a bad thing. So I'm just going to show this to sort of show how you can vary the play to what you're comfortable with. Make it your own. Right, so we'll take our odds off there. I'm going to put that there in the come. And we've got a 6, so come travels to the 6. Back in there again. Oops, these are just falling off everywhere. All right, here we go. What do we got? We've got a yo, so that's a nice little earner. And invariably I tend to throw, after a yo, I throw an ace deuce or something like that. It takes it away. We've got a 4, so we've got knocked off our don't. Not ideal. So sometimes even when you're on the best number, it doesn't help you. So we lose this one here. We'll live with that. Now we have a bet up here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to get us established with $45 in odds on that one, and I'm just going to run with him. And I'm going to go into the pass line. So that is covering enough. It's covering 2 units. So, and this one, if a 7 rolls, we're still going to make some money. Now, unfortunately, aces. So not a good roll to be on the light side. Go back in. And 7, come out 7. So that one pays there. This one pays the flat, and we get paid for our odds by the dealer. So we still picked up a little bit, although we did lose to the aces. But this kind of play does seem to work for the majority of hands, because most of the hands tend to run short and they're not long. And shorter hands, there's just less chance to knock your don'ts off. That's basically how it works. So let's move to the DC, get some new dice. And we've got a 9. I'll drag them into the middle there. So 9's the point. And again, this is on the 5 and the 9. We have to lay 45 in odds. Let's put them there. into the DC, and we've got 7 straight away. Boom. Not to worry. That basically ends up a wash there, but we still ratchet up another 30 bucks. And I'll take that all day. I really don't mind. It's 30 bucks. It's a win. So let's see, how many shooters have we had a net loss on so far? I don't think we've had a net loss on any of them. I think one of them we broke even on, but every single shooter we've pretty much made money on. So this is not a bad play. But like any strategy, it has a set of rolls that are gonna hurt it, and doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes things just don't work out. So there's a case where we've had a bad roll. We've got a 7, come out 7, so we lose our DC. So starting to take rather than give. So the rules I kind of use, I'll endure 2 losses if I haven't. Look, I'm happy I get loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. I'll go with many of those. But if I get 2 back-to-back losses on this, I'll just sit it out and try and see if there's a point can get established and then get a DC up. Yeah, of course, I can still get caught on the DC, but it means I do avoid the case where you get, a bunch of yo's and a bunch of, come out 7s. And I've rolled sometimes, I think 6, 7 7s in a row on the come out. So it does avoid those situations. Aces. So we win it back. So this shooter's hasn't hurt us, hasn't helped us. And we're on the 6. All right, 6 is the point. Nice cheap lay for this one. Only 36. And over into the don't come. And 7. So nice quick one. Which is kind of what you see a lot. You see so much of this. Shooter fumbles around on the come out. They get a point set and then roll the 7, and everyone goes, and when we're playing a 5, 6, 8, that's always our terror, right? Our terror is, when's the 7 coming? And here we go. We go. That's great. We didn't get as much profit as we might have got, but we got something. We got 30 bucks. I actually like this play because of the sort of incremental risk. You're not risking a lot to make the money, and it's sort of an incremental. You're sort of building as you go. You're just adding a little bit more. Whether with other ones where you're putting all your risk up right up here, and it's either going to go it will go okay. You don't get all your risk off the table in the first hit. You usually need, playing the 5, 6, 8, you need 2 hits. If you're playing more than that, you need a lot. You need 3 or 4 hits. Which is why I play the 5, 6, 8, because I can either have 1 hit, then regress down to a reasonable level where I've locked in a little bit of profit and my action's paid for. If you go that extra wager, it gets a lot harder to do that. And you've got to either risk more up front to regress steeper so that your action is paid for via that first hit. With this, I find the balance of, it's a 70% probability of winning versus 30 for the 7 when you're just factoring in the 5, 6, 8 and the 7. And that's why I kind of play it. The risk and reward is kind of a good match. So that one's paid there. Now, did I lock up my profit? Too much talking. I've completely lost track of what I was doing. So I'm going to say, did I lock it up or not? Look, I can't remember now if I did pay myself. I don't have the money on the felt, which is strange. Why is that? Look, I'll pay it, and if I've paid it twice, because I just don't remember paying it, but if I have paid it twice, I'll rectify it in when I review the video. I'll rectify it and I'll adjust it on my next video. All right, I'm just going to see where we're at, because we've been going along okay, so it's not bad. We're not bad. We're getting up there. So hopefully this kind of roll continues. And we've got a 4 as the point. All right. So again, I might just go the cheap option in my lay. Or maybe instead of 30, maybe let's go to 40. So at least I win 20. You don't have to go the full 60. 20 bucks is a win. All right, win's a win. 10. So that one's travelled to the 10. So we've got the two outsides. Now the question is do we want to leave those odds up? I'm actually going to take them down because I just find the variance of the odds is what kind of undid us that session where we kind of didn't do too well. Unfortunately, bad decision because we just got a beautiful 7 there. So I would have made an extra 20 bucks, but that's okay. So we get paid up here. We get paid on this one, and we get paid on this one. So $90 instead of 110. I'm not going to quibble. It's only 20 bucks less, but you don't need too much to go your way to do really well with this strategy, I'm finding. So let's see where we're at now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get us to an even 1500. So let us do that. I'll take this one back because that's 100 there, and let me take that out. That's another 100. All right. So that gives me a purple. Now I'm not sure I'm going to colour up or stop yet. I'm just doing a stock take because we were a little bit down. So there's my 1500 there. All right, so everything else here is our profit. All right. So that's why I was doing that. I just wanted to kind of get a nice point of where to stop. And so look, 225. We'll keep going a little bit longer. We did have a little bit to catch up. From the last session because we weren't quite at the 1500. So let's keep going. That comes off. Get some new dice coming out. We've got the 9. Nine's the point. All right, so 1 green, 4 reds, 45. Into the DC. We've whacked our 9, which is the kind of, I was waiting for this to happen. It has to happen at some point. The shooter gets a point, right? So now the strategy's costing us some money. That's okay. I'm going to put my 40. Yeah, I'll put 45 in odds. I will try and get another DC up because we've got no other light side action. Now, who knows what that, if we get a come out 7, then that may not be good. But you know, with no other light side, we may as well try and get 2 of our DCs up. 2 don't bets, I should say. 6. All right, 6 is the point. So now we go. So I'll need to hand the dealer a few greens, and we'll get a stack of reds. Perfect. And go into the come. And this is the roll where we want to get either yos or 7s. We've got a 5, so that one's travelled. I should have said I should take my odds off now, which I completely forgot to do. So that's me not paying attention to my play. So our odds are off. We're just running the 2 don'ts flat, and we've just rolled an 8. So hopefully we can get some repeaters and not knock off too many of our come bets. Now these come bets are completely offset by those by our don't bets. If we are feeling that this shooter might be warming up, there's nothing to stop us saying, well look, I'll put 30 here and try and make something light side, you know, make more light side. We can also do that if we think this shooter's, you know, warming up. Well, let's try that. We've got the 8. All right. So it's basically an off and on situation. So we need to get paid on our flat of 30, and this pays 5 to 6. So pays I think 35 from memory, or 36. Sorry. Yes, 36. All right. So there we go. Happy with that. Now the question is, do we want to add our odds again? I'm probably one of those players where I'll do the odds once. Once is enough for me, and I've survived, got my hit, and I'm quite happy now to just play it flat, rather than getting caught too much by the 7. Of course, we've knocked off our DC, and that's okay. I'm just going to take that on the chin. That's fine. I'll probably add 36 because, look, the odds here are cheap. It's cheap to lay here. You're laying 36 to win 30. It's not as, you know, it's basically the same as having almost a $60 don't on the 6. Yes, it's risk. We could hit the 6. But it's not like the 10 on the 4 where you've got to lay double to make half, right? 9 again. Oh, sorry, I didn't put my cum in. Should have had the cum in there. That's me talking too much, not concentrating. So that's an off and on situation. This strategy is continuous cum bets. We've got the 8. So again, off and on. We get paid. Of course, if I had my extra odds there, I would have done really well. So 4, all right. Back in the cum. So we are getting splayed across a lot here. And yes, we've only got 2 of them covered. Well, technically we've got 3 units covering the 7. So just think of them as units. 1, 2, 3 covering the 7. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at a bit of a deficit against the 7. But guess what? We've had light side hits, which kind of cover that deficit that we have against the 7 now. So even if we do lose those, we've kind of had wins to cover those. So that's kind of why I like the way this plays out, because even when the hand goes long, you still make money. Yes, you'll have some collateral damage from your don't bets being knocked off, but on a long hand, you're still going to make money with these bets hitting. There are cases where you'll set all the bets up and then 7 out. That happens also, but not all the time. And there we are, we've knocked off our, was inevitable, had to happen. This is that shooter that just keeps hitting their points. And this is one where we've lost all of our don't bets. In fact, I think we've lost 3 don't bets to this shooter. So that travels. So now we've got our maximum exposure. Because playing right now, we basically, there's nothing we can do to protect this. We could put a lay bet on. We could certainly do that, but I'm not really inclined to lay that much money against it. So what's the other option? I'm just going to play a pass line bet. Hopefully we'll knock one of these off. We could just play no pass line and just let the bets resolve as well. So that's the kind of point we're at where it's probably a good time to resolve. But I'm going to put something on the pass line. If the 7 comes, it at least pays for one of these. Got an 8. All right, so 8's the point, which is good. It's more likely we're going to get hit on that one. So look, we get paid there. Now I'm not going to do any more cum bets now because they don't been knocked off. I'm just going to let these resolve. 4 gets paid. Coming home. 10, nothing, no one's on the 10, nothing's on the 10. Now we could put a lay up. There's nothing to stop us doing that. 10 again. Came hard. So this is where our most risk is on these sort of rolls here. 5. So we've got another one back. Eight's the point. This is one of these shoes where going back up on the don'ts, we would be getting punished. Right? If we'd have gone up on our DCs and don'ts, again, we would have been punished yet again by this shooter. So there's a kind of a point where you go, look, I'll give you 2, and that's about all I'm going to give you. So, whoops, just knocked over a bunch of chips there. So at the moment we've got 2 wages left. Now the question is, do I want to run this or just let these resolve? I'm kind of inclined to take that one down, just put it back in my rack and let these resolve. But as you notice, we did lose a chunk of our profit on those don't bets that have been knocked off. 4 is the point, so I'm glad we didn't run a bet there. And there's the 7. So look, we've lost a couple at the end there. So not great. That possibly would have been the good hand to have a don't bet up at the end there. But look, not all shooters go so many points. And we've seen plenty that short rolled. So anyway, new shooter coming out. And there's a 3, come out winner. So there we go, we've picked up one of those lost units. So I'm looking at what we've got here. I've got 100 here, got 100 here, got 200. And I've pretty much got that one. I've got almost 300 here. So I think we're pretty close. All right. 8. All right. So just looking for another couple of quick wins if we can get it. 8. Aces, perfect. Don't mind that one at all. All right. 5. All right, so that travels. And now we go into the come. And please give us a 7. Now, probably should take this down. We don't need that there. Give us a 7. There's a 7. Shouldn't have taken my odds down. But again, I'm just trying to minimise some of that variance that I believe the odds hurt us last time. So look, I think we've pretty much made the profit we need to. So let's colour up, see where we're at, do a stock take. I'm seriously, if you're getting short rolls at the casino, this kind of play, I really think there's a lot of validity to playing this way. Because I see people complaining, shoot a 7 out, 7 out, 7 out. Well, then play something like this. If you're seeing it, then play according to what you're seeing. Don't just sit there and keep trying to fight it. And obviously, I've done a lot of fighting it through my series so far, playing the 5, 6, 8. I'll use a lay to try and compensate, but sometimes just go with what the flow is. And this works very well on the short rolls. If we've got enough for one short, it's always the way. Never quite colour it up perfectly. Alright, so let's see where we're at. Because remember, we've got perfect 1500 here in our rack. Nothing fits in there. And plus we've got this is 100 here. I'm going to take that back. So there's our first 100 of profit. Almost 400, almost. In fact, if we count where we are, where we started, we're $1 away from having a 400 clear profit. But we actually started down. We weren't quite at 1500, right? We're at 1460 or something. So we've done really well. We're up at the upper band of our profit target. So it's actually pretty good. I'm not complaining. So let's get a couple of blacks there, and what are we going to do with these blacks? Well, let's just spread them across like this. So there are our reserve bankrolls building up. So 1200, 1200, 1200, 1100 and 1100. Here, this is our what's left over. So I'll put that next to him. He's $1 short of 100, but you know we've literally got four backup bankrolls of $1,200 and one at 1100. So that's pretty awesome, and we've got our $1,500 bankroll here. So that's great going from where we were when we had that losing session. And it probably wasn't a losing session. If I'd have kept playing, it could have turned around, but I kind of like to stick to a time limit. I think it's really important when you're getting frustrated to recognize that, step away and come back and fight again. So when you've cooled down, you've got a level head, you can be more objective, you're not trying to chase your losses too much, you're just betting more responsibly, being more measured in how you play. You're not getting flustered because you've had a run of things and you're just feeling like a victim of the dice. If you're feeling those feelings, then that's a good signal. Chill, take yourself away, calm down, you know, do something else, come back later, come back the next day, give it an hour, whatever time you need. But you know, just having that break there can really help. And guess what? You come back an hour later and the table conditions are completely different. You know, the conditions that were causing you to lose are probably no longer the same conditions, right? The tables, you know, whatever the variance in the dice has moved on to some other kind of pattern that might be more conducive to your strategy having a better chance of winning. So, look, we've done really well in this session, and I'm very, very happy with how this play does tend to work. It tends to be a pretty solid play, has a few corner cases where we do lose, but by and large, it really does work well, and you just need a few short hands and you're collecting, you know, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. If you play a bit more aggressive and leave your odds up, it's 120. You don't have to play it at 30. You could play it at $40. You could play it at $50. I'm playing it pretty conservatively for the bankroll I'm using. If you notice, we didn't really dip into our bankroll at all. We just literally won from the outset, and we were just winning the whole time. Yes, we had a couple losses where we bumped down a little bit, but you know, by and large, it was just straight off and straight up, and we just kept, you know, slowed down a bit, but then we kept going up. So that's a pretty nice play. So I'll leave it there, and thanks everyone for their comments and feedback, and everyone who's got those eagle eyes looking out and finding my mistakes. I really appreciate it. Don't ever hold back on any of that. I really like people saying, hey, you missed this, or you paid this, you overpaid here, or you paid from you paid from the dealer rather than your rack, or you left a bet up and that bet wasn't working, yet you took it away on a loss. All of those things, that's really, really good. It helps me to improve my dealing, and keeps what we're doing here accurate and honest. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for your time watching the videos and putting up with the little mistakes I make. I try my hardest, but I'm certainly no dealer, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to get my mate Tony to come and do some proper dealing. That'll be awesome when he can do that. But I kind of want to finish my craps table that I'm building. I want to get that all built and finished and done, and then I'll hopefully do something with Tony then. So appreciate you watching and see you again soon.